Hello viewers, this is our weekly program where we discuss the rights of women in Nigeria. My name is Fumi Falana. I'm the Director of Women Empowerment in Igbo Aid. And tonight we will be discussing your rights, the rights of women under the laws applicable in Nigeria. Specifically today, we'll be looking at the rights available unto a woman upon the dissolution of the marriage. I will be right back. Welcome back, viewers. Upon the dissolution of marriage under the laws applicable in Nigeria, specifically under the Matrimonial Causes Act, when a marriage is dissolved, there are some rights available unto a woman. It is commonplace in Nigeria that when a marriage is dissolved, most women are thrown out into the cold. Most women are dispossessed of their children and they are sent out of the home without anything given to them. But this is not the law. There are the rights that the law accrued unto a woman upon divorce or dissolution of the marriage. Specifically, the type of marriage contracted is also should also be considered in this circumstance. If the marriage is a customary marriage, now the laws applicable, the customary laws applicable depends on the area. You have the Yoruba custom, you have the Igbo custom. But tonight I will be discussing the marriage contracted under the Matrimonial Causes Act, and that is the English marriage, the one we usually call court marriage. That is the marriage under the Act, and that is the English marriage. How does it go? Now, when you get married in the registry or in a church, it is assumed that you have contracted a marriage under the English law. And so the laws applicable upon dissolution will be the rights guaranteed unto the woman or to the man by the law of the land, and that is the Matrimonial Causes Act. Now, when a marriage is to be dissolved, there is the issue that the court will look into, and specifically, it is the rights of the children of the marriage. And so when children are involved in a marriage, the paramount interest of the children in the marriage will be the first consideration of the court. And so we'll talk about how will the children continue to go to school, even while the case is going on. How will the children continue to be maintained, even while the case is going on. And upon the conclusion of the case, the court will first of all look at the custody of the children. Who should be awarded custody to? Now, gone are the days when women would be told that the right place of a child is the father's house. It is no longer the law. The law is that the good place, a party that has the best structure, the best things to maintain and to take care of the child will be given the physical custody. But usually the court will grant access of both parties to the child. And when I'm talking about the physical custody, I am saying who does the child stay with. As a matter of fact, maybe during the week, it may be the period of the holidays, it may be the period of the school days. But if the child is below, any child of the marriage that is below 21, the court must look at the custody of such children. And if the child is below 10 and the mother has the capabilities and the things to take care of the child, and specifically if the child is a girl, it will not be according to the law or the practice of God to give the custody to the child, to the father. So usually the court will want to grant the custody of the children to of the marriage. We always want to give what we call the joint custody. Now, what do I mean by joint custody? Joint custody is The mother or the party, could be the mother, may have the custody of the child during the week, and by the weekend the father may take over the custody. There will also be a specific arrangement of how to give access to the other party upon the time he or she is allowed or is entitled to that custody. Now, but the court will make sure that the education of the child, which is the right guarantee to the child in the laws of the country, the education of the child is not disrupted. The maintenance of the child is not also disrupted. And when I talk of maintenance, I'm talking about the school fees, the feeding and the clothing, the socioeconomic needs of the child or the children, and the case may be, will also be considered by the court. So the father, if the woman is given the custody of the child, the father will be allowed to pay a specific amount depending on the ability of the man for the maintenance of the child, for the school fees, for the clothing, for the feeding and other socioeconomic needs of the child. The mother also will need to support, but there will be a specific amount that the father will need to pay into a specific account. It is no longer the law that the child's custody will always be awarded unto the man. It is the practice that joint custody will be given to both parties, but it is specifically or very commonly the case that it is the mother, especially where the mother is seen to be responsible. It is the mother that can take better care of the children, especially also if the child is a girl. And so it is absurd and it is uncommon to give the custody of a girl child to the father. But the father will always be asked will be given access onto the child. I will be right back. Welcome back, viewers. I was discussing the rights available unto a woman upon dissolution. And remember, I told you that the custody of the child or children of the marriage, as the case may be, could be joint custody, will always be joint custody. And when I say joint custody, the man or the woman must have access onto the child or the children. But usually the physical custody of the girl children must be given to the woman, except the woman is found irresponsible. Now also, when we leave the issue of custody, which is usually the paramount consideration of the court, then we talk about partitioning of the properties of the marriage. It is also no longer the law that the woman will be turned out into the cold upon dissolution of the marriage. The court will consider the properties they jointly acquired in the process of the marriage. Now, when I say jointly, it is also no longer the law that there must be physical evidence of contribution by the woman. The fact that they were living together is enough contribution. In the case of Apovi versus Apovi, the court specifically said that the fact that the woman was living with the man for a specific period, was making his bed, was preparing his food, and was taking care of the home, was enough contribution to the assets they acquired in the period of cohabitation. And therefore, that ordinarily gave her interest, economic and equitable interest in the property acquired during the process of cohabitation. And so the court will not shut its eye onto the fact that the woman has equitable interest in every property that must have been acquired during the cohabitation of the two. And so the court will apportion and will partition the properties in accordance as much as it is equitably necessary in the circumstance. So a particular amount of money, a lump sum of money may be required to be given to the woman. Upon the dissolution of the marriage, there must be a specific amount of money that will be given, that will continue to be given to the woman by the man, which is called alimony. until she remarries. The responsibility of taking care of the woman rests upon the man. The responsibility of taking care of the children rests upon the man as well. The woman does not, the responsibility of the woman is not detached from the man until the woman remarries. So until the woman remarries, the man is expected to give a certain amount of money for her, to her for an upkeep. And that amount again depends on the income of the man. But the court will usually not turn the woman out to the cold without giving her anything. So if you're a woman out there and you are suffering an injustice in this area of dissolution, custody of your children, you have a right. There are rights are guaranteed to you by the law. Do not keep quiet. You must be given access to your children. It is your right under the law. And therefore, get a lawyer to help you out. You can go to court. A lawyer will file a case on your behalf. If also you have been turned out to the cold without giving you anything, you are entitled to a particular amount. You are entitled to part of the property acquired during the cohabitation, during the period of your marriage. And therefore, if you are undergoing an injustice, like I said, please do not keep quiet. It is usually good to speak out, because ignorance of your rights will lead to your inability of asking for such rights. I have decided to give you the rights, to tell you the rights applicable or the rights available unto you this evening, so that if you are undergoing any issue of injustice in this area, you can please contact any lawyer in your vicinity. Any non-governmental organization in your vicinity will also be ready to assist you. And remember, men, treat your wife like your mate, like your friend, and like your partner. She's not a slave, and she's not just a chattel in your house. Women's rights are human rights. Until next week, I want to wish you well, and I say, have a wonderful evening. God bless you.
What kind of food is this?